Okay, welcome back from the break. We're now going to go into the new hires report, how to effectively use this report. And this report is a very simplistic report which identifies families who have started a new job within the last 3 months. The report also includes information on individuals for which new hire information has been reported within the last 3 months. And I want to distinguish between those two statements. Now, today is October 28, 2011. So technically, the report will show anyone who started a job between October 28th back to 3 months, which would be July 2011. However, let's say hypothetically, the National Director of New Hires just recently received information on a new hire, but that new hire date was, say, last year, okay? The only way you would know about this new information is for us to flag it as new information received in the last 3 months. So it is possible that when you look at the new hires report, you'll have a family member showing up on there, and when you see the new hire information, you're like, well, wait a minute, the new hire information is dated in 2010. Why is it on this report? It's on the report because it's a new occurrence that was just received by EIV within the last 3 months. So the report is going to show information received within the last 3 months, new information received within the last 3 months, and information in which the family member has been hired within the last 3 months. So that way, you'll always have access to that information. Now, if you remember, once upon a time, this report showed everybody hired within the last 6 months, and you said there was too much overlap there when you ran the report every month. So we've modified it to show family members who have been hired within the last 3 months or information coming into the system every 3 months. If there comes a point in time where you, the PHA community, collectively say, Nicole, I want this report to just show me people who have been hired within the last 2 months or 1 month or 8 months, all you have to do is say, we want this to be changed, and I don't have to go through a system release to change it. I can actually go into the system and change the flag from 3 months to 1 month or whatever, however many months you want. So I just want to let everybody know that we do have that capacity. Now, the new hires report is valuable to housing authorities who conduct interim increases and actually adjust the family rent contribution in between annual reexaminations. So in that regard, if you do have an interim increase policy in which you actually change the family contribution in between annuals, you'll want to follow up on this report every quarter. So basically run the report every 3 months. Okay? And as I mentioned, the new hires report is very simplistic, it's straightforward. The only people that can access this report are those individuals who have these following user roles assigned to their EIV user ID, which is basically the PHA occupancy voucher or public housing program. Accessing the report, again, very simplistic. Click on the new hires report link and then click on the get report. And notice here that you can run this report using the default functions or search criteria, which is all action types, all re-exam months. But let's say you just want to run the new hires report for only new admissions. You would just simply change the action type to new admission. So you have the ability to have this report be as short as you want or as long as you want. So when you select all, for the default, for the search criteria, you'll get everybody that meets the criteria. But if you want to narrow it down in scope to only look at, say, historical adjustment transactions or interim reexaminations or annual reexaminations, you have that luxury of doing that. And here's a sample of the actual report. Notice that you have a summary reports tab as well as a detailed reports tab, and you will simply click on the report and see the information that's being displayed there, okay? Notice that your summary reports is downloadable in Excel, printer-friendly version, lists the family information, as well as the program type, the address, so forth and so forth. Basic information extracted from PIC. When you click on the Detailed Reports tab, this is where you actually see, notice in the blue box, Here's the hire date information, and EIV received this information on 9/20/2011, where the person was hired on November 18th, 2010. Now you see what I'm talking about when we say that EIV may show you people who have been hired beyond a period longer than 3 months, but this is the first time that this new hire information is coming in to EIV for Joel. So Joel was hired at Walmart on November 18th, 2010, my favorite store in the whole wide world, love Walmart. But this information didn't come into EIV until September 20th. So now you know that Joel works at the Walmart in Arkansas. Okay, see how simple that report's very simplistic. Any questions? He's like, nope, no questions. It's so simple. Now, use of the identity verification report, and as you know, my team has Operation City, correcting incorrect tenant identifiers, and we monitor the identity verification report, which basically is a report that identifies individuals who have failed the EIV pre-screening as well as failed SSA identity tests and or pending verification by SSA. This is a valuable report that will assist housing authorities in identifying tenant personal identifiable information which may need to be corrected or updated on the Form 50058. And it also identifies families who may not be eligible for assistance in the program because they have not complied with the Social Security number, disclosure, and documentation requirement at 24 CFR Part 5, Section 216. Also, this report identifies our deceased tenants who are no longer with us. So what are you required to do? Okay, you are required to comply with the HUD requirements under PIH Notice 2010-03, particularly viewing pages 12 through 16 of the notice, which identifies the various error types and how to correct the error types. You are to monitor your identity verification report on a monthly basis, and if applicable, require the family to provide updated information or official documentation from the Social Security Administration regarding disparities in between information that's reported on the 5.8 and the SSA database. For example, a birth certificate, state-issued identification card, a letter from SSA showing that the information entered on your 5.8 is in fact what's on record at the local SSA office. And HUD headquarters will be working with SSA headquarters to resolve any of these types of deficiencies surrounding discrepancies in information reported on the 5.8 and the local SSA office. Now, in instances where you have determined that, in fact, that the family has not complied with the disclosure of the Social Security number in accordance with the HUD regulation that I cited, you are required to terminate assistance in accordance with the HUD requirements, which can be found at 24 CFR Part 5, Section 218. Now, for those of you that have looked at the training materials for today, you'll notice that one of the handouts are the applicable HUD regulations related to EIV and related to Social Security number disclosure. So those of you that are in our live studio audience, at the back of your training materials, those regulations that are referenced in this training guide here, those regulations are back there. If you're watching this via webcast, on the EIV Training and Technical Assistance page for the October 27th through the 28th training materials, you will see a handout link for HUD regulations. And so those are the applicable HUD regulations. If you don't know them, get to know them very intimately, okay? Because people say, why do I have to do this? It's in writing, okay? So remember, what's our motto for today? RHIIP. Reading is fundamental. RHIIP. Okay? All right. So here, this is where we're going on to now. Want to get into the details to show you your identity verification report, as I mentioned, consists of your failed EIV pre-screening and your failed SSA identity test. And your failed EIV pre-screening report is going to identify any household in which HUD has determined not to transmit the personal identifiable information to the Social Security Administration for matching for one or two reasons. Either the tenant personal identifiable information we have determined is invalid. For example, anyone who has an H number or an alternate ID that's generated in PIC. we are not sending that information to SSA for matching because we understand that in order for us to get income information from SSA or HHS, there must be a valid Social Security number. Also, remember in part 1 of this training, we talked about what is required in order for HUD and PHAs to obtain income information about an individual. One of those requirements is that the family or the individual 18 and over has signed a consent form. Typically, you have the family sign those consent forms during the interim or annual reexamination. Well, if we look in PIC and we see that the last 50058 that's been transmitted to PIC is older than 15 months, what will HUD assume? Exactly, Megan. You haven't done a 5.8 in the last 15 months. And if you haven't done a 5.8 in the last 15 months, I'm a mind reader, Megan. I read minds. Your lips said nothing. I read your mind. It was all on your face. But the bottom line is that we assume you have not done a re-exam, whether it's an interim or an annual, over 15 months, which is a signal to us that you don't have a current consent form on file. Therefore, HUD is not authorized to request information, even though this is an active participant in our program. So anyone who's 5'8" is older than 15 months, that record is flagged on the EIV pre-screening as failed effective date check, which means that a 5'8" is older than 15 months, okay? So here what we do is we say, do not send those personal identifiable information to SSA for matching. Anybody who's on the failed EIV pre-screening, we will not match, okay? The failed EIV pre-screening report is updated every week upon successful completion of the EIV weekend summarization job, which basically entails copying the 5/8s from PIC. So let's say hypothetically, today is Friday, and earlier this week you identified all your failed effective date check 5/8s, and you've submitted those updated 5/8s with a current effective date on the 5/8. When EIV copies that information tonight and does a summarization job tomorrow, your new failed EIV pre-screening report on Monday will no longer show those families because EIV has now copied your recently submitted 5/8s, okay? Now, on the other hand, your failed SSA identity tests report is updated basically the month following the month in which you submitted an updated 5/8. And I'll give you an example. Remember, your failed SSA identity test is going to identify anyone who's been matched against SSA, and SSA comes back and says that the PII does not match what's on their database. So let's say hypothetically SSA came back and said, well, the date of birth for Nicole is 12/12/69, and you had 5/21/71 on the 5/8. If you go and update the 5/8 with the 12/12/69 and you submit that to HUD tonight, okay, we will flag that record to match with SSA with our next monthly match, which would be November 1st, okay? Once we match with SSA on November 1st, if they come back, SSA comes back and says, okay, we see this changed PII, which is now 12/12/69. This matches our database, so that failed record will now be verified, and when EIV copies that information from SSA, the failed SSA identity test report will be updated upon the completion of the weekend summarization job after confirmation from SSA that the updated PII matches their database. And I know that sounds confusing, but I did release a cheat sheet, if I'm not mistaken, what was it? It might have been last month. No, it was August 31st. August 31st is PIH-RHIIP message number 50, if I'm not mistaken, that tells you and explains to you how to update or when the identity verification report will be updated. So who can see the identity verification report? Again, the same people, PHA occupancy voucher or public housing users. Accessing this report is very simplistic. You will click on the identity verification report link on the left navigation panel of EIV, and you'll click on the Get Report button, and this is what your search criteria looks like. And again, you have the luxury of determining, you know, do I run this for everybody? Do I just run it for public housing Section 8? HUD recommends that you run this report for all re-exam months, all action types, for all programs, so that you're aware of any potential deficiencies, and clicking on the Get Report will display for you the results of this report. And so here is an example in which this is the failed EIV pre-screening. And again, notice at the top of the page there are 3 tabs. The active tab is in blue. The gray tabs are inactive tabs, and to get to the failed SSA identity test, you will just simply click on that tab, okay? And it's very simplistic. The other thing I wanted to point out on this screen, notice that there's a link that says Error Description Help. If you click on that link, these are the 15 various types of error messages that you can receive on the identity verification report. And so this is very, very helpful information so that you can see that. And again, PIH Notice 2010-3, which was reissued and extended for another year, does provide you with detailed explanations on pages 12 through 16 on how to correct any deficiency that shows up on the failed the identity verification report. Now, for the failed EIV pre-screening resolution, the failed effective date check, as I mentioned earlier, is an indication of an overdue re-exam or an outdated 5.8. So the solution to that is to submit an updated 5.8 with a current effective date. The other error message that's common is failed SSN check. Keep in mind, anyone with an alternate ID or an invalid SSN will show up as a failed SSN check. And so basically, the way to fix this is, if applicable, replace the alternate ID with a valid SSN. Keep in mind, individuals who should have an H number, the only people who should have an H number are individuals who are not eligible citizens or eligible non-citizens, okay? So your eligible citizens will always have a Social Security number. Your ineligible non-citizens will have a Social Security number, okay? All others will not have a Social Security number, and those are your ineligible non-citizens, okay? And just a reminder that HUD cannot obtain any income information for anyone with a PIC-generated alternate ID or an invalid Social Security number. Here's an example of the failed SSA identity test. In this particular instance, you have a case where the individual Social Security number was not found in SSA records. Also, I wanted to point out that with this report and any report in EIV, if you search for information by public housing program, you do have the ability to drill down to a specific project. Okay, so notice in the middle of the screen, inside that box is a toggle drop-down menu with the project, and it's defaulted to all, but you do have the ability to only see information for a specific project. So if you know that you're an individual that looks at 5 different projects, and today you're only on site at Gilmore Homes, you may just want to change this and put in just the project number for Gilmore Homes so you can work that particular project at that point in time. And then we've talked about this, basically implementing the various corrective actions that's outlined in the PIH Notice 2010-3. Page 12 of the notice is the introductory to the table of corrective action, which is listed on pages 13 through 16. And if you have a tenant that continues to appear on the identity verification report after either implementing corrective action, or you have documentation from the local SSA office that the information is correct, we ask you to contact me here in HUD headquarters via email with a copy to your designated EIV coordinator, and then I'll reach out to you to determine if there's some intervention on my part in getting some additional documentation, and then us working with SSA to resolve that issue. Now, I do know that under Operation City, Housing Authority's responses were due to HUD headquarters on September 20th, and a lot of you all have submitted the required documentation with respect to notices from the local SSA office, copies of the Social Security cards. My team is working to go through all of that information and validate the claim that there is no issue with the reported PII. So I just ask for your patience as we work through that. Understand that we are working thousands of cases, and so we're be sending that information to SSA for resolution, and once they resolve that issue and come back to us with the disposition of your particular case, either I or one of my team members that were introduced to you yesterday, Victoria Austin, Erica Williams, Melisande Bell, Darlene Felton, Stephanie McQueen, will contact you by telephone or by email to let you know that the issue has been resolved and what action needs to transpire for us to have that taken off the report. But understand, we don't take anything off of the report. Items come off of the report one or two ways. Either you update the 5.8 and we then copy that updated information. In instances where you wouldn't submit an updated 5.8, let's say that SSA had an issue on their end. Once SSA corrects their issue, and then we match with SSA again, that updated information will come into HUD and the family will fall off of the report provided that the information now matches the SSA database, which has been corrected. The last report within the identity verification report is the pending verification report with no results. And just here, this just lets you know that there's nobody pending verification. On the flip side, though, these 10 people are pending verification, which means that there's no action required by the Housing Authority. HUD will send the personal identifiable information for these 10 families with our next regularly scheduled computer matching process with SSA. And also understand that this tab here is only going to show those families that are scheduled for the quarterly income matching process in accordance with that schedule that I showed you earlier yesterday, which says this is when these states are matched with SSA. So like if you send an updated 5.8 in between the quarterly match and we would match that with the next monthly match, those are not going to show up on the pending verification tab, okay? Only those that are routinely scheduled for the quarterly matching process with the Social Security Administration is going to show up on this particular report. So any questions on the identity verification report within the enterprise income verification system? Okay, so now I want to move on to a subset of the identity verification report, which is basically the immigration report. This report is designed to assist housing authorities with effective monitoring of PHA and tenant compliance with the Social Security number, disclosure and reporting requirements, as well as implementation of prorated assistance for mixed families. Also, this report will assist housing authorities with following up with tenants that are pending verification of citizenship or immigration status as reported on the form HUD 50058. So please don't confuse pending verification on the immigration report with pending verification on the identity verification report. They're two totally different processes. This deals with pending verification. If you remember on the 5.8, when it comes to citizenship status, you have eligible citizen, eligible non-citizen, ineligible non-citizen, and PV, pending verification, which means that you are in the process of verifying that individual's immigration or citizenship status, okay? And the other thing that this report will allow you to do is follow up with eligible citizens or eligible non-citizens who have not disclosed a Social Security number and need to disclose a Social Security number to you. Remember, effective January 31st, 2010, all individuals are required, regardless of age, because remember the old rule was anybody over the age of 6 was required to disclose an SSN. That rule was changed, so that's why I gave you the copy of the regulation. Effective January 2010, no longer is it limited to folks over 6. It's anybody who's an eligible citizen, eligible non-citizen, regardless of age, is required to disclose that Social Security number. So you, the housing authorities, are required to comply with the requirements outlined in HUD guidance with respect to verifying Social Security numbers. You're required to monitor this immigration report on a monthly basis and update the 50058 with information provided by the tenant, the Social Security Administration, or Department of Homeland Security. Now, I do want to alert you, as my team, the Improper Payments Assessment Team, has been monitoring The immigration report, along with the identity verification report, basically those folks with H numbers or alternate IDs. If there's someone on there and they have eligible citizenship or eligible citizenship or eligible non-citizen status, we're expecting to see a Social Security number. Now, I do know that traditionally in the past, if something wasn't working with, the name or the social that you had on file, you were generating alternate IDs. It's going to come a point in time where we're going to resolve all of those issues with data disparities. But what I'm finding is that a lot of folks are generating alternate IDs inappropriately. And I want to let you know that an individual who has not disclosed a Social Security number is not eligible to participate in the program. Okay, if they're an eligible citizen or an eligible non-citizen and they have a social and they have not disclosed, they cannot participate in the program. And you cannot remove a family member who hasn't disclosed Social Security numbers just for the sake of having the family be continued eligible to participate in the program. And if you remember in January of 2010, when I did the training on the refinement of income and rent rule, I reminded you that you have some family members, they'll say, well, I'm not giving my Social Security number. And they say, well, I'll just take him off the family composition. Not. The whole family goes. You cannot modify family composition so that the rest of the family can comply, okay? Also, you have some folks, they have gotten hip to the program. They say, well, you know what, if they get my Social Security number, then they're going to be able to see all my income that I'm earning. So you have some folks, and I kid you not, and I know y'all think I'm a comedian, but we had a tenant that actually said, nope, I want to contend not to have eligible immigration status. Like, what? Wait a minute. First you claiming that you are eligible citizen. Now all of a sudden you don't want to make a declaration one way or the other. Because remember, legitimately, if you opt to make no declaration, two things happen. You don't have to disclose a Social Security number, but secondly, the assistance has to be prorated. Can't have it both ways. Okay, and people don't realize that when they opt to not contend, then that means the family pays more because the assistance is going to be prorated. So just want to, remind folks, don't fall for the okie doke. Okay, we already know that Delphine isn't going for it. She's like, honey, you told me in the beginning that you were an eligible citizen. You are not coming in here telling me today that you're not one way or the other. You got documentation where you changed your allegiance to the American country and you're now a citizen of another country. I'll need that documentation before I make that change for you, right, Delphine? She's like, that's right. You ain't pulling the wool over my eyes. Gotcha. Okay, and so we talked about what you're required to do, following the guidance. How you access this report, same way as all the other reports. If you're an occupancy user for the voucher or public housing program, you would simply click on the immigration report link on the left-hand side, click on the Get Report. See how easy this is? I'm sorry, y'all, I'm just so excited because it's Friday and tonight the new version of EIV is going to be deployed. And every time I look at this sexy blue, I'm just like, okay, HUD is bringing sexy back. Woo, I'm so excited. Can you get excited about this? Okay, so this is the new report. Y'all gonna see this on Monday live. And I want y'all to tell me, just be honest with me on Monday, because when you look at this screen and see this blue, you're gonna have a whole new attitude, because that burgundy, it was kind of like, ho-hum, it was all drab and, make you want to kind of grimace. Don't this make you smile? It's like, I just get excited looking at it. So, I came today with my I love EIV bumper stickers. So my live studio audience, if y'all want one before you depart, I'll be more than happy to share it with you. And remember, Megan Prophet is the author of the I love EIV bumper sticker. And those of you that are viewing this training by webcast, if you would like I love EIV bumper sticker, I'll be more than happy to mail you one. upon your written request to PIH.RHIIP.TA@HUD.gov at no charge to you, courtesy of yours truly, and A1 Printing in Waldorf, Maryland. Okay, so anyway, back to our immigration report. Notice here it's going to list anybody who's got an H number, who is an eligible citizen, eligible non-citizen. Notice that this one family member is pending verification in the center. This is pending verification of citizenship status. They have an H number. So you need to do two things on this one that's pending verification. You need to follow up and see what you're waiting on for the verification on pending verification. Because guess what? If you have somebody on this report pending verification for over a year, you're telling HUD that you're not doing your job, okay? How long does it take? Where's my SAVE person? If either you're running them through SAVE and either SAVE is telling you everything is okay or it's not telling you anything, and remember, if you don't get a response back from SAVE to confirm, then you have to do the manual verification, which is sending that, I think it's a I-845 form over to Homeland Security for them to confirm the fact that what their current immigration status is, okay? But if you need help on the immigration report, I mean, it's a fairly straightforward report. The only people you should be seeing on this report is anybody who is classified as an ineligible non-citizen. That's all you should see on this report. That's the goal. Your goal is to get to having only ineligible non-citizens on the report. This is a report really that's designed for HUD and HUD's Office of Inspector General, as well as the Department of Homeland Security for enforcement purposes of identifying individuals who may be in this country illegally, or may be in this country and they should no longer be here. So, are you ready for the, and let me just say, this is the grand finale EIV system training. This is probably going to be our very last training, since we will not be making any more substantial changes to the systems which would warrant doing a webcast training. So that's why I sent out the message yesterday saying that this is the grand finale, going out with a big bang. This is the last major change to the system, and so you will not see me again on webcast anytime soon. But of course, I am always available by phone and by email to assist you with your questions. So without further ado, I saved the best for last, as Vanessa Williams would say, and the best for last is my favorite, deceased tenants. How to reduce improper payments on behalf of deceased individuals by using the deceased tenants report. This report is designed to identify families who have tenants as being reported as dead. And this information comes from SSA's Death Master File. And basically what's happening is we're matching that PII with SSA's Death Master File. And if SSA indicates that the person is dead, they will return to HUD the date of death, if they have it, and the fact that they're deceased. And the deceased tenants basically come off of the report one or two ways. When you submit an updated 5.8 to PIC, which does not contain the previously identified deceased individual, or you submit an EOP record for the deceased individual, or HUD obtains updated deceased information which has been corrected in SSA's database. So basically what HUD is doing is that on a regular basis, again, with our quarterly match and our monthly match with SSA, we match against their Death Master File, and they provide us with this death information by the 15th of the month. That's why we tell you in PIH Notice 2010-50, excuse me, to run the report every month before you cut your HAP checks, and for public housing before you generate your monthly rent roll, so that you can let your folks know who is no longer with us. And your report is updated every Saturday with EIV's successful weekend summarization jobs. So if you submit, like for example, you know, we had I think right now we got just under 1,500 deceased individuals, and so you're submitting updated 5/8 to pick. So once the EIV does its weekend summarization job, they will fall off of the report. Now keep in mind, because this weekend, October 28th, is a system release weekend, EIV summarization job will not occur this weekend. So you will not see a change in any of your EIV reports until the following week, okay, in November. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear. EIV's weekend summarization job will not run tonight or tomorrow because we're deploying the new code for EIV, all right? Now, just to backtrack, yesterday we talked about user certification, and a lot of people heard what I said yesterday. I'm still begging you to please make sure that your active system users, that you certify them by tonight, okay, because we're deploying the new version of EIV, and we want to make sure everybody is still going to have access, okay? So as of this morning, there was, I believe it was 1,524 individuals that required certification. So I'm just letting you know, if you're not certified by tonight, there is a possibility, actually there is no possibility, you won't have access on Monday when you come in to work, and you will not be able to see how HUD is bringing sexy back, okay? Plain and simple. So you're going to follow the guidance outlined in 2010-50. You're going to monitor your deceased tenants report on a monthly basis. You're going to contact the next of kin or listed emergency contact person to confirm the death. If applicable, you're terminating assistance and/or tenancy in accordance with HUD requirements, and you're submitting updated 5/8, whether it be removing the deceased individual from family composition or doing an EOP transaction. And your first priority is to ensure that you're addressing the deceased single-member households, because that is where the bulk of the improper payments occur. And so the next slide shows you what you're required to do as far as updating the 5/8, which is very simplistic. EOP, or removing the family member from the family composition. If the tenant is not deceased, and it does happen, now if you run your report and you see that Miss Lottie Jones was listed as deceased, and you just saw her yesterday walking fluffy, you need to let Miss Lottie know that she needs to contact the Social Security Administration immediately. Now, she is going to have to go in person to the SSA office and prove her identity so that SSA can update their records to reflect that she is no longer deceased. There is a toll-free number to SSA, 1-800-772-1213, which is a traditional SSA number. She can call, but the only way it gets updated is if she goes into the office. She cannot send a person who has power of attorney or anything like that. They have to physically see the person to make the change to the database that the person is no longer deceased, okay? So what you'll want to do is give Miss Lottie a copy of the EIV information for her showing that she's deceased, and obtain documentation that SSA has corrected its record. Okay. Now, as a temporary workaround to get the person off of your deceased tenants report, you can generate an H number, because I will tell you sometimes it does take a little while for SSA to fix the error in their database. However, if you generate an H number, what report are they going to show up on? Failed identity verification, failed EIV pre-screening because they have an alternate ID and they're an eligible citizen. So you have to figure out what's the worser of two evils, okay? If it were me, I would just generate the H number, because then I know that I'm not going to have to send any documentation to HUD when we do our monitoring, okay? We have no way of knowing, and I know you're like, well, I told you 5 months ago that she's not dead, and she still keeps showing up on there. And why you keep sending me this letter about Miss Lottie? We deal with 4,000 plus housing authorities. We deal with data for thousands and thousands of individuals. I have 6 people. We have no way of going through although I know of 2 cases because of the name, and I can manually subtract that out, but I cannot do that on a wide scale process, and I apologize for that. But guess what? This time next year, we're going to have a lot of data cleanup occurring because, again, we're working with SSA to resolve all of these issues. So we rely on the documentation from the family, from the local SSA office, so we can then share that information with the local, the SSA headquarters, so that they can ensure that all the databases are updated appropriately. Now, in our live studio audience, we only have a couple people who are brand new to the program, and of course, out in TV land, I know that there are quite a number of newbies. And so I want to give you a quick lesson on the housing choice voucher. The voucher is not transferable to individuals who were not a part of the household upon the death of a single household member. The only caveat is when the individual, let's say your head of household was very sickly, and before she died, she was in the process of adding a family member to the family composition, and it is documented. That is the only scenario in which someone should be added after the person has died. So what I'm saying is that if Miss Lottie is the only one on the family composition, there's no file documentation that Miss Lottie was going to add her grandson or her nephew Jerome to the family composition before she died. When Miss Lottie dies, Jerome cannot come to you and say, well, you know, my grandmama Lottie, she was going to add me to the family composition. Can I get that voucher? You do like that commercial? Not your chips, not your voucher. You can't get it. Yes, ma'am. I know y'all like,
Can I ask you a question? What if the head of household had 2 children and she died, and the husband, they were separated, and the husband was not on the subsidy? Is there any way that the subsidy could be given to the husband?
you have 2 minor children, the head of household dies. Can the father or another family member or somebody who's going to take guardianship of those children be added to the family composition? Yes, in accordance with your policy. PIH Notice 2010-50 has a specific section that deals with scenarios in which there are remaining household members that are minors. Now, please understand, when you exercise your right to add a new head of household, that new head of household, before you add them, must go through the same screening as if they were an applicant. That means disclosure of social security number, identifiable documentation to confirm who they are, so forth and so forth, okay? So that is permissible. I just want to make sure everybody is cognizant of the fact that single-member households, the housing choice voucher cannot be deeded, it cannot be willed, it cannot be transferred. You know, Johnny cannot come in here and say, well, I got Aunt Lottie's, last will and testament right here in paragraph 7B. It says, I bequeath my voucher number 2567 to my cousin Jerome. No, it's not transferable. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Also, if it's a head of household who has a live-in aid, remember, by definition, 24 CFR Part 5, Section 403, right-hand side of the page of the hardbound CFR, specifically says the live-in aid is only in the unit for the purposes of assisting that elderly or disabled individual. The live-in aid has no entitlement, no rights to that unit or to that voucher. So when the head of household dies, guess what? If it's a Section 8, that's the end of it, okay? The Section 8 HAP contract has a provision, clearly says landlord is not entitled to receive any HAP for any month following the month in which the death occurred, and that also applies to households where the surviving household member is a live-in aid, okay? So with that said, how to access the deceased tenants report, very simplistic. Again, if you've got the application processor or public housing voucher PHA occupancy roll, you're simply going to click on the deceased tenants report and click on the get report link, and bada bam, bada boom. Here is your deceased tenants report. Any individual listed with a red star means you have work to do. That's a deceased single member household, and you need to follow up and make sure you're not paying any HAP following the month in which the HAP occurred. The only exception is if it's a project-based Section 8 program in accordance with 24 CFR 983 and your housing authority has an established subsidy payments that are allowable after an incident in which the vacancy, they're called vacancy payments, in which the vacancy was not caused by the landlord, okay? Under no circumstances outside of 983, which allows for up to 2 months of vacancy payments in accordance with your PHA policy, the landlord is not entitled to receive HAP for any month following the month in which the death occurs. That means if Miss Flossie dies today, October 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, November 1, the landlord gets no HAP. Now, if you would like to pay the landlord his rent for November, you may do so, but you may not use HAP funds. Everybody got that? Okay. My team is looking at every single deceased single member household. Any deceased single member household that comes in our purview, you will be required to provide us with your financial documentation showing the payment history for that particular tenant to show to us that no HAP was paid after the month in which the death occurred. For any HAP that was paid after the month in which the death occurred, you're required to recover that overpaid HAP from the landlord. If you're unable to recover that money from the landlord through an offset of subsequent HAP checks or the landlord repaying that HAP, you must reimburse your net restricted assets account for that amount that was overpaid from either your COCC, Central Office Cost Center, or from unrestricted net assets, UNA, okay? There is no wiggle room on that. So please don't ask, because unfortunately, I don't like to say the word no. That's why I tell you that you can pay if you want to, but not with your HAP funds, okay? And some of you, you don't like the rule. I'm sorry, that is the rule. You telling your landlords, well, that's what HUD says. Call Nicole Faison if you got a problem with it. I have no problem accepting those phone calls from the landlords because all I'm going to do is riff. Reading is fundamental, and I'm going to read to him the statute, I'm going to read to him the regulation, and then I'm going to read to him, if he stays on the phone long enough with me, I'm going to read him the White House blog that was sent out on December 23rd of 2010 on payments made on behalf of deceased individuals. This administration does not care for money being paid on behalf of dead people, okay? We don't pay for dead people. Please remember, Housing Choice Voucher, it is a tenant-based program. It is no longer a unit-based program. We don't pay for units. We don't pay for storage. So the landlord who says, well, his stuff is still in there, that's the price you pay for being a landlord. I'm a landlord too, and if my tenant Susan dies today, guess what? I have to go through the same process of regaining possession of that unit by either willing family members giving me the keys and me regaining possession of the premises. And if that doesn't happen, then I have to go to court and get a judgment to obtain possession of the premises, okay? Doesn't matter, Section 8, public housing, the rule is the rule, okay? So that is the story on the deceased tenants report. So I'd like to thank you for your time, spending it with me to go over the effective use of EIV to reduce improper payments. This system is dynamic. It will help save money. It will help ensure that limited federal tax dollars will serve as many families as possible, and also help us to identify and recover improper payments. Don't forget that this agency, as well as other federal agencies, partnering with PHAs and state and local agencies are charged with helping to eliminate $50 billion in improper payments nationwide. So your contributions are great, and I'm proud to say that over the last 9 months, working with you all, we have documented your recovery of over $3.5 million. And so you all are to be commended. You guys are doing a great job. I appreciate you all. Our Assistant Secretary, Sandra Henriquez, appreciates the work that you all do, all the way down to all of the HUD management here. We see what you're doing. We appreciate what you're doing. If you haven't had a chance, view the fiscal year 2011 PIH Improper Payment Celebration. It is now available on the HUD webcast, and I'm asking housing authorities to take a moment out and acknowledge and recognize the work that the staff do at the agency. So if not today, if not tomorrow, I want every housing authority to look at the calendar and say, you know what, I'm going to pick this day, and this is the day that we're going to celebrate us, okay? So HUD celebrated you yesterday. I want everybody to have a day to celebrate the work that you do. I'm proud of you, and I encourage you to keep doing the great job that you're doing. And so with that, I'm going to sign off on this webcast. For those viewing the webcast, this webcast can be viewed at a later date. For those that could not tune in today on October 28th, it should be available sometime next week after the closed captioning is done. We will be offering a certificate of completion for this training session for those who have viewed via webcast starting on November 8th. The deadline to request a certificate for the May 2011 training has been modified to be October 31st, since we now have this new training session. So with that, I say thank you. Happy Halloween, have a good weekend, and thank you.